So when should you sell a stock? When the stock hits an all-time high or when it drops for some reason? Let's talk about it. Coming up. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Think Finance. My name is Raj, and on this channel I talk about investment ideas, personal finance, money management tips, and just about all things finance. The goal is to stretch our dollar as far as possible. If you're new here, consider subscribing. In this video, I'm going to talk about reasons when to sell or not to sell a stock. I'm also going to talk about how I decide whether it's time for me to trim my position. If you're a day trader, you have your own janky ways of buying and selling stocks, this video is probably not for you. If you're a technical analyst or chartist who follows charts blindly, that is not something I'm going to talk about here. A separate video on technical analysis coming up. So why is it so difficult to sell? I know I have issues. How many times you've run into a situation where you invest in a stock with a price target in mind and the stock hits your price target, but you decide to hold on to stock for just a little bit longer, only to find yourself in a position where the stock now is below your original cost price? See, we all have issues selling. We all know the rules of the game, but greed and emotions kill our ability to think rationally. Before we go into when to sell, let's talk about when not to sell. Reason number one, markets have gone up too much. It's time to sell. There is usually a reason why markets go up. We've been in a bull market for over 10 years now. See, markets go up for a variety of reasons. Economic stability, Fed policies, global growth, corporate earnings. Markets going up is not a reason to sell. It's just not. Reason number two, when the stock has had a sustained move up. Let's look at Microsoft for the last 12 months. This stock has had a steady uptick for the last 12 months, backed with strong earnings quarter after quarter. A sustained move up, not a parabolic move, a sustained move in the upward direction is not a reason to sell. The stock is just doing great. Reason number three, everyone is selling, so it's time for you to sell as well. Let's investigate Apple for this one. In mid-2018, the stock plummeted from 221 to 148. Apple was trying to reposition itself as a services company, as opposed to just a hardware-based company. The markets, including the analysts, saw this as a negative. Maybe there's something wrong with the company. There's a reason why they are hiding iPhone numbers and focusing more on services. Well, not really. I think they were just trying to find new areas of growth, and services was the next big thing for Apple, or is the next big thing for Apple. So the underlying story kept getting better. Was that a reason to sell or a buying opportunity? Today, the stock is fishing around at all-time highs. Finally, number four, when the market is in correction mode. Typically, after climbing steadily, markets suddenly enter correction mode. Corrections are healthy for the market. Indeed, it generates buying opportunities. So I would rather be a buyer as opposed to a seller when markets hit corrections. So the question is, when should you sell? What should you consider? Let's talk about it. Number one, you made a bad choice. I've made bad calls a number of times. Yelp, for example. Years back, everyone was investing in social media stocks, including Yelp. I just decided to get on the bandwagon. I don't have Yelp at this point. It just doesn't align to my long-term strategy. It just doesn't. Number two, the stock no longer aligns to your long-term strategy or the reasons why you bought the stock in the first place, or the fundamental story has changed. Companies' ability to grow is dramatically hampered. Let's take an example. Strategic shift in how the company does business. Ford Motors decided to limit investment in sedans. Strategic move. Or maybe there is a new competitive threat in the market. Amazon have been threatening big box retailers for a while now. Bed Bath & Beyond, they just released the numbers. They are getting killed. You bought a company for growth, but that's not happening. Revenue deceleration. New regulations hampers companies' ability to make money. China throws a wrench at companies all the time. Management shift, major management shift. Imagine Tesla as a company without Elon Musk as a CEO. Ooh. You bought a company for dividend. However, the company is consistently cutting back on dividends quarter after quarter. Maybe you should reevaluate your stake in the company. Reason number 3, stock just made a parabolic move. Sustained uptick in a stock is not a reason to sell. Parabolic moves up is a strong reason to sell, or at least trim. Parabolic moves tend to correct and will give you a better re-entry point. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla recently moved from $300 to $968 in 3 months. Strong reason to trim. Long-term story may be intact, but parabolic moves like these tend to correct. Reason number 4, valuation is off the charts compared to peers. Valuation is typically measured in terms of PE. Now, average PE for S&P is 15. This is price to earning ratio, is 15. Any stock above 15 is technically, by definition, is considered overvalued. Now, this is a tough one because these days everything is stretched. So PEs are totally stretched for most of the companies out there. A better way to do this is compare the PE of a company you are considering with its peers. So for example, compare Amazon to Microsoft. Just based on PE, Microsoft sounds like a better deal. Reason number 5 to sell a stock. You want to rebalance your portfolio. A lot of times, one of your positions will be overweight in your portfolio. Fair reason to sell. You want to trim down your overweight position and rebalance it across your portfolio. Apple, for example, has been on a tear recently. Maybe it's overweight in your portfolio. Maybe it's time to rebalance, sell some Apple and buy something else so that your portfolio is back where it should be in terms of allocation. Point number 6, you found better investment options. Years back, I liquidated my 401k portfolio and used the money towards a down payment for a house. This is during the 2008 downturn. Yes, I paid a 10% penalty, but at that point, when the prices were so low when it came to real estate, it just was a no-brainer for me to get into real estate. I'm happy I did because it's worked out pretty great for us. And finally, point number 7, you just need the money. Hey, it's life. Things come up, emergencies come up. You need the money to support your emergencies. It's fair reason to sell. So those are the 7 reasons why you should consider selling your position in a stock. So how do I sell? What is my approach? Let's talk about it. So the first question I'll ask myself is, does this stock still align to the reasons I bought it for? If you've not watched my strategy video, I'll strongly recommend you do that. People who watched it know it, that I focus on growth and dividend. For example, Verizon is one of the stocks I'm investing in. I'm investing in Verizon for its dividend. Now, tomorrow, if Verizon decides to cut dividend or trim dividend for whatever reasons, I'm going to reevaluate my stake in the company. So let's assume Verizon continues to pay dividend. Next, I'm going to assess the stock against some of the points I discussed. Has the story changed? How much of the news or headlines is expected to phase out over time? Or is it going to be permanent? If it's permanent, maybe it is time for me to reevaluate my position or stake in the company. That is how I decide whether it's time to sell. Let me know in the comments section how you manage selling of stocks. Okay, that's all I have for now. If this was helpful, smash that like button and consider subscribing. Until next time, peace.